And welcome to Unity Church of Overland Park, where we are a place of agape love and where we are a positive path to spiritual living. You know, we have 5 core values here at Unity Church of Overland Park. They are spirit-led, love, inclusiveness, abundance, and joy. Did you all get your joy token and card when you came in today? On this card is a list of action steps that you can take in your life to live from a place of joy. And so I'd like to invite you, if you will, to just join me in speaking the definition of our core value of joy. The words are behind me on the screens and also on your card. We live from a positive view of the world and celebrate life. That's right, live from a positive view of the world and celebrate life, because joy really is an inner quality that goes regardless of circumstance. It's a choice to see the world with God's eyes, those eyes of agape love. So I invite you to keep this token, and when we're done, you will have received all 5 core values. I think this is number 3 we've given out to you, and to just focus on these behaviors and actions that you can take to know more joy, to live from joy in your life. And I also have some news to share with you today that's not so joyful. And as I share this news, we just remember again that God is the presence of joy and love within us. And one of our dear congregants, our dear members, Dale Stoner, made his transition this past week. And Dale and Sandra are just beloved parts of this congregation, and I know I can count on you to hold them in prayer for peace and for love and comfort. And Dale's service is going to be at 10:30 on Tuesday, followed by a luncheon at 11:30. So let's hold the Stoner and family in prayer as we begin our service this morning. Just invite you to breathe into this field of agape love, unconditional love of God. And we send this love to you, Dale, and to all those who have known and loved you, praying that you are all at peace that passes understanding. May the comfort of God be there for you. And from this place of compassion now, we send out love to bless this planet of ours, knowing that every experience in our lives is another opportunity to know love more deeply. And so we send this love out to encircle the planet, moving heart to heart, uniting us all in God. And so, dear God, we bless this service today. We let go of worries or concerns and just allow your love to be the presence that we feel, that we know, and that we embody. All this we pray in gratitude after the nature of the living Christ. And so it is. Amen.
The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was truly a man who embodied what it means to live an empowered life. And to celebrate his life and his work, the church offices and bookstore will be closed tomorrow. However, Yoganetics will proceed as it is scheduled.
And over the last several weeks, we've been inviting you to consider stepping into one of our upcoming classes, and that's not this announcement. I apologize for that. I have another announcement for you. All right, you'll hear the next one later on. What I want to tell you now is that we want to offer an opportunity to you to step into membership, another way to step into living the empowered life and walking the talk that you do already. And we're going to have a membership opportunity later on in the spring. But before you do that, there's a couple of classes that we'd like to ask that you take first. And one of them is UCOP and You. That is all about this ministry, its history, how you can step into service to support it. And we're going to offer that on Thursday evening, January 31st. So please consider joining that class if, in fact, you'd like to become a member, or if you'd just like to learn more about this ministry.
Men, we have a wonderful opportunity coming up for us in March 8th and 9th out at Unity Village. We're going to be having our men's retreat. And I'm particularly excited this year. Tom Anderson is going to be facilitating that retreat. Tom is known for his Vision Quest work. He's an author of 2 books, former board president here. I've had the opportunity of having a retreat with Tom. I've had the opportunity of being in one of his workshops that he presented for the men's group, and it touched me at a very deep level. So I am really looking forward to this time with Tom. Fred's going to be there. And you folks, you guys, want to invite all of you to come downstairs after the service to Harmony Hall. The men's group has a sign-up table down there where they can answer any questions about the retreat, or you can register for the retreat, or you can go online at ucop.org and get further information. Again, March 8th and 9th at Unity Village. And now let's bring our song leaders up, and let's all get up on our feet as we sing Stand.
Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now.
Now please remain standing and greet the wonderful people around you. Now join with us in I Am the Love of God.
I am the love of God. I am the love of God. The love that made the universe. The love that sustains us all. I am that love. I am the love of God.
And so I invite you to become comfortable where you are and just allow Fred and Bukeka to lead us into our time of meditation today.
I am the love of God. I am the love of God. The love that made the universe. The love that sustains us all. I am that love. I am the love of God.
Breathe into this moment. Become aware of the activity of God. Feel its presence with every breath you take. And from the moment of your very first breath, you've been on a journey to know God more deeply and to express God more fully. And with every breath you've taken, with every person you have met, in each and every experience that you have had, Spirit has whispered, I am here. For this energy of God is the very energy that surrounds you and fills you and guides you forward on your journey. It brings forth clarity in times of confusion and faith in times of fear. No matter the circumstance, the constant in our lives is God. When your mind becomes quiet and still, you can hear the constant promise of God. I am here. We move now into our time of silence. And in the quiet, in the stillness, I invite you to embrace these words. God is here. In the silence. God is that inner voice urging you forward. It invites you to let go of any concerns and then to stretch and to grow, to dream, to reach higher than ever before. And as you do come to know God more deeply, and you begin to express God more fully. And you know without a doubt that God is indeed here and all is well. And for this we are grateful. And so it is we pray. Amen. And I invite us now to join with Bukeka in singing the echo version of the Lord's Prayer.
universe is calling, it's calling, it's calling. The universe is calling me to be. Ooh, ba-ba-da-bum, bum-ba-dum-bum, ba-ba-da-bum, bum-ba-doodle-doodle-da-ba-ba-da-bum, bum-ba-dum-bum, ba-ba-da-bum, James Albright. Yes.
Woohoo, we're doing church now. Yes, we are. James Albright and Vukeka Nuvi Scholes, you guys are awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah. It is 2013, and we are living the empowered life in 2013. That is our theme for the entire year, living the empowered life. The empowered life is when you accept and claim and live from the power of the divine in you. It's called empowered because you accept and know that the power comes from within. It's the divine presence of God or the Christ nature. It's your true authentic self, and it's within you. It's not giving our power to the outer circumstances of the world. So we're going to be exploring what it means to truly triumph in our lives as we live the empowered life this year. And every month we have a particular theme to help us stay on track. The theme of January is purpose. Purpose. And we have an affirmation that goes along with this theme of purpose, and the words are behind me on the screens here. Let's speak this together. I am on purpose. Every step I take brings me closer to my dreams. Now, if it's comfortable for you, would you stand so we can speak this standing? Because when you take a stand for something, right? When you take a stand for something, then absolutely we are on purpose together. Let's speak it one more time. I am on purpose. Every step I take brings me closer to my dreams. Yes. All right. Have a seat. That's good. Awesome. So last week, as we explored this notion of living life on purpose, we said that when you live life on purpose, you have a life of integrity. You are clear and focused. Moment to moment, you know what your purpose is. You know why you are here. And last week, we talked about how you can create a mission statement for your life, a purpose statement for your life, a statement that is an overall guiding statement for how you will live moment to moment, as well as how you will live in a big picture perspective. And I invited you to write your statements down and send them to me. And I want to share with you some of the statements that came in. These are powerful, powerful statements. I will build a foundation for children through education by inspiring, learning. Let me say this again. I will build a foundation for children through education by inspiring learning, motivating creativity, and affirming self-potential in all students. It's a powerful statement. This person sent me both her vision and her mission statement. Her vision for the world, the highest dream she has for the world, is for the whole world to know that they are love incarnate. That's beautiful. And then her mission statement is this: I am love in action. I uplift, educate, and inspire myself and others. And I want to share one more with you. I am 100% responsible for peace in this world, and therefore commit my life to being a loving force in all I do and say from this day forth. Those are powerful words. And here's the thing about having a mission statement or a purpose statement. The words become magnetic, and they draw to you the resources of the infinite universe. And I was looking in the book, The Path by Lori Beth Jones, and she says 3 things about your mission statement. Number 1, it should be one sentence. You should be able to recite it under any circumstance. And number 3, it should be understood by a 12-year-old. In other words, it should be so clear that anyone you speak it to will understand. So clear that anyone you speak it to will understand. So if you're catching up with us, listen to last week's lesson online, or you can pick up a copy of the CD, because there are questions that I gave you to guide you in writing your mission or your purpose statement. Go online on our Facebook account, and right there on our Facebook page, you can write your mission statement for others to see. As you declare it, it takes on power. As you declare it, it takes on power. So, last week, actually it's been a couple weeks ago, my husband and I went to see the movie Lincoln. Any of you seen that movie? Raise your hand. Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? It's pretty powerful. And I don't know about you, but I thought I was going to see a biography of Lincoln's whole life. So I thought they were going to start when he was born in the log cabin, you know, and move all the way up. But it's only the last 4 years of his life. It's that period of time right before the Civil War ends when he was aggressively pursuing the ratification of the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery forever. And what you get to see as you watch this portrayal of 4 months of his life is how purposeful he was about enacting that amendment. And it was not an easy enactment at all. He knew that he needed to enact that amendment before the Civil War ended, because he believed that if he did not, then the war would end and people would just go back to their old ways of being. And so he was absolutely convicted and committed. And spoiler alert, put your hands in your ears here, Lincoln dies. Yeah, a week after the Civil War ended, he is shot. And here's the compelling question that stayed with me since that film. You see, the film shows what a profound leader he was, how inspiring he was, how even though he had no formal education, he was a very learned man, very well read. He was a brilliant man and a powerful leader. And so the question that stayed with me was, how would the world be different today if he had not been shot? How would your and my life be different today if he had been able to oversee the Reconstruction after the Civil War, which tore our country apart? I mean, just imagine how things would be different. And on this weekend, where we celebrate the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr., I have that same question about him. He was shot at the age of 39 years old. Just imagine if he lived another 10 years, or 20 or 30 or even 40. Imagine if he lived to be 79 years old. How would our country be different today if that man and his leadership had carried on? Well, let me share with you a few things about Martin Luther King Jr. Because if ever there was a purposeful man, it was he. He was born January 15th, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. And you may or may not know that he was born Michael King Jr. And after his family went to Germany and were introduced to Martin Luther, his father changed his name. His father changed his name to Martin Luther King Sr. and then changed Martin Luther King Jr.'s name as well at that time. King was so bright that he skipped the 9th and the 12th grades and entered Morehouse College when he was only 15. He received a bachelor's in sociology and went on then to get his master's and his doctorate in theology in 1955. King was a Baptist minister, and this amazes me. At the age of 25, he took his first church, the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. Now, think back with me to when you were 25. Some of you will have to think longer and harder than others. Some of you don't have to think long at all because you are 25 or you're about to be 25. So think about that time. Imagine being the lead minister of a church at 25. And then within the next year, Rosa Parks in Montgomery, Alabama, decides that she is not going to give up her seat to a Caucasian man. She's African American. She was asked to give up her seat and she refused. And from that bold step on her part, Dr. Martin Luther King then led the Montgomery bus boycott. Now, you may or may not remember the details of that, so let me share it with you. For 385 days, the African Americans in Montgomery did not ride the bus. And eventually, as a result of their nonviolent protest, the law was changed and the buses were desegregated in Montgomery, Alabama. And the leader of this boycott, the leader of this cause, was a 26-year-old man named Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. The thing that impresses me about this is that you never know when your moment is going to come. He was launched into the spotlight through that. There were many other civil rights leaders, and he was the one who went to the forefront because of that experience. He could never have dreamed that Rosa Parks would do what she would do, that through his belief and practice in nonviolence, he would be able to lead and sustain a boycott for 385 days. And yet, when the moment came, he was ready and he was prepared. He went on throughout his leadership to be arrested 30 times for participation in civil rights activities. In 1963, he led the March on Washington. In 1964, he was the youngest person ever to win the Nobel Peace Prize for his work to end racial segregation and discrimination through civil disobedience and nonviolence. And then on April 4th, 1968, at 6:01 p.m., he was assassinated while standing on the balcony of a Lorraine motel in Memphis, Tennessee. Folks, he was only 39 years old. Imagine where we'd be if we'd had his leadership and his commitment to continue on. Well, what was King's purpose? You know, we're talking about purpose in this month of January. Wonder what his stated mission statement was. In all of his eloquence, I wasn't able to find a concise statement that he called his mission, but let me share what some authors have said about him. One said, the liberation of mankind and the elimination of injustices. That was his mission, the liberation of mankind and the elimination of injustices. Another said, to bring about racial equality, nonviolence, and social justice. And many have said, to serve others. In fact, let me read to you from one of his speeches. This speech was given, it's called the Drum Major Instinct Sermon. And he's speaking about the day when he might leave, when he might die, because he lived with death as an imminent possibility all of his adult life. He said, if any of you are around when I have to meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get somebody to deliver a eulogy, tell them not to talk too long. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry. And I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to clothe those who were naked. I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. And then, of course, there was his legendary I Have a Dream speech, and I want to share just one line from that. Perhaps this was his ultimate purpose. He says, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will be judged not by their color, not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Well, I don't know what he would have said was his mission directly, but he embodied it. Who he was spoke louder than his words, and his words were eloquent. Yesterday, I had the privilege of attending the Johnson County NAACP chapter celebration of Martin Luther King's birthday. And in his introductory, there was a wonderful, wonderful celebration. There were inspiring speeches and lots of performances by children from, just little toddlers all the way up through the teens. And at one point, Dr. Tom Trigg, who is the superintendent of the Blue Valley School District, was introducing our keynote speaker. And Dr. Trigg said something that really stayed with me. He said, we all have opportunities. Our role is to be available and prepared when those opportunities come. He said, I don't believe in coincidences. And you know what? I don't either. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that we do all have opportunities and that our role is to be available and to be prepared when they come. I mean, Martin Luther King Jr. couldn't have foreseen exactly what was going to come down the pike, could he? At such a young age. And yet, when the moment came for him to take a stand, he took a stand, and it thrust him into the national and international limelight. And you and I were always being prepared, right? We just don't know when the moment's going to come. Our keynote speaker yesterday, Leo Morton, who is the chancellor of UMKC, do you know that a week before he was offered that job as the chancellor of UMKC, he had never even thought about it, never even considered it. But then the opportunity was there, and he said yes. Or maybe you remember that flight, that U.S. Airways flight led by Captain Sully Sullenberger back in 2009, Flight 1549, that took off from New York's LaGuardia Airport and lost power just 3 minutes out of the airport. Now, where do you land a plane? Right? Where do you land a plane 3 minutes out of LaGuardia Airport? There was no safe place to land it. But he did. He landed on the Hudson River, right? He landed that plane safely on the Hudson River. It's become called the Miracle on the Hudson, and all 155 of those passengers survived. I heard in an interview with Captain Sullenberger that he believed that every moment of his life up to that point prepared him for that. He was prepared. So you and I, we're being prepared too. We may not know for what. You see, that's the whole point of this, is that you don't know what you're being prepared for. It's only in retrospect that you can look back at your life and see how one experience played into another to another. But our jobs are to show up in preparation. There's a wonderful parable in the Bible. It's in the book of Matthew, chapter 25. And it's the parable of the 10 bridesmaids, or the 10 virgins. And the story goes like this. These 10 bridesmaids were waiting on the bridegroom to come and take them to the wedding. And they had all brought their lamps filled with oil, and you understand that oil was an expensive thing to have back then. They all brought their lamps filled with oil, and 5 of these bridesmaids had actually brought with them extra oil, which turned out to be a good thing because the bridegroom was detained. And all the bridesmaids went to sleep. And when the bridegroom finally arrived and woke them up, the 5 who had not brought any extra oil, their lamps were empty now. And they asked the others if they would share their oil, and they said, no, we don't have enough to do that. So the bridegroom took only the 5 with the lamps of oil to the wedding. Now, this story's been interpreted many ways. It's sometimes seen as some future time when Jesus Christ may come back and only those who are ready will be taken with him to heaven. But I'd like to look at it from a different perspective today. I'd like to look at it as the opportunity that you and I have to prepare for every moment, to prepare for the moments when we have to call upon our inner Christ nature, that power within us, when we really need to call on that power to show up in the world. And will we be prepared for that? You see, oil can represent spiritual wisdom. And what do you do to grow your spiritual wisdom but spiritual practice? So will we be prepared? Will you be prepared when those moments come to you? And you can't know today what they will be, what those moments might be. So I want to talk with you today about how do you get prepared for the moments? And you don't know what those moments might be. It might be that you're being prepared right now for a conversation you're going to have with somebody that you love. It might be that you're being prepared right now for marriage someday, and you don't even know that. So here's the thing. There's 4 steps I want to share with you today. And the first step to being prepared when the moment comes, when the big moment comes, is to show up. Now, that might sound like that's self-evident, but what I want to suggest to you is that it's not. You're invited to show up for every moment of your life, whether it's a challenge or whether it's a triumph. You show up fully because in the act of your showing up, you are being prepared for the next moment. Every moment has that opportunity. You see, God is preparing you even when you don't know you're being prepared. It's only with 20/20 hindsight when you look back at your life and you can see how a certain experience made a difference. I'll share with you that when I look back at my life, I can see how I was being prepared to become a minister and never knew it. I mean, bless Brian's heart, he certainly didn't marry someone thinking she was going to become a minister. That was on nobody's radar screen. And I look back, though, at how it was that somehow God was preparing me for pastoral care even before I knew it. You know, when I was just a teenager, I would ride my bike over to the nursing home where my grandmother was because I was the only one that she would eat for. So I would go and feed her lunch. And I kept finding myself throughout my life at the bedsides of people who others couldn't quite reach for one reason or another. The person wasn't able to communicate or really articulate what was going on for them, and somehow I was there. I was there when my mother was having panic attacks, and others couldn't quite communicate with her, but somehow there in my 20s, I flew down to Florida and I was able to make that connection. And God kept placing me in those kinds of circumstances, one after the other. I didn't know I was being prepared for anything at that point. And then, you know, my first career was in banking. I never intended to go into banking. It was not my dream to do that. I wanted to be a training director. I didn't care where I did it, but I wanted to help train people in communication skills and in leadership skills and supervisory skills, that kind of thing. Well, there I ended up in a bank. Not training anymore, but managing a number of branches and so forth. And what did that do? But that gave me financial experience. I got to manage people and budgets and all preparing me to be here in this community with you and other things too. And I know your life's the same way. You can look back and see how experiences that you had were preparing you. So the number one step to being prepared is to show up. For whatever's in front of you, to show up fully and give yourself to it. And even if what's in front of you right now is a dark night of the soul experience, if what's in front of you right now is testing you to your extremity, you show up for that. As you move through that, you're making preparation. You're being prepared for some moment that you do not even know about just yet. So step number one is to show up. Now step number two is to do your spiritual work. You know, when we look at Martin Luther King Jr., we know that he was a person who did his spiritual work. He was a minister. He had a PhD in theology. And let me read to you his words. He said, "And I know this God enough to know that he's with us. I've come to believe in prayer stronger than ever before since I've been in Montgomery. And I'm convinced that when we engage in prayer, we are not engaging in just the process of auto-suggestion, just an endless soliloquy or monologue, but we are engaged in a dialogue. And we're talking with a Father who's concerned about us. And I've come to believe that I have felt his power working in my life so many instances. And I've felt an inner sense of calmness in dark and difficult situations, and inner strength I never knew I had. So if you want to be prepared for the opportunity to make an impact on the world and in your life, do your spiritual work, whatever that looks like. Take your time to pray. Pray for the people that you care about. Take that time to pray for God to guide you, to give you the steps that you are to take in your life. Take your time in meditation. Take your time coming to church and being in a positive community of people that will hold the faith for you. Read books and listen to messages that inspire you. All of that is doing your spiritual work. And that is so key. You know, what you're really doing here is strengthening your core, right? You're strengthening the core of who you are. And that brings us to step number 3. Some of you are not going to like me when I tell you this next step. Step number 3 is to grow your commitment muscles. Grow your commitment muscles, your ability to make and keep commitments in life. Some of you were lucky enough to grow up in a home where when you made a commitment as a child, your parents made you keep it. And I know that there's some kids in the room right now who think that you've got the meanest parents in the world because they won't let you off the hook. When you put your name on something, when you sign up to be on the soccer team for the term, you have to keep that commitment, even if you want to drop it. But I'm telling you, your parents are doing you a favor, because they're helping you to grow your commitment muscles so that if you can make a commitment now, then you'll be able to make a stronger commitment later. Martin Luther King Jr. was committed. Abraham Lincoln was committed. And so we want to grow our muscles. And it is like a muscle because, you know, you lift a 10-pound weight today, and before long you'll be able to lift the 15-pound weights and then the 20-pound weights, right? You're strengthening the core of who you are. And I want to invite everybody to join with the staff as we work on our core, because every morning we pray in at 9 o'clock. We do our spiritual practice, but before we do our spiritual practice, now at 8:55, we get down on the floor of the Peace Chapel and we're doing what's called planks. Some of you know what planks are, some of you don't know. It's basically you get down almost in a push-up position on your toes, and I would model it for you, but it wouldn't be too graceful in a skirt. So anyway, but the idea is you elevate yourself, you stay basically parallel with the floor, and you are strengthening your core muscle. We're doing that as a staff together, focusing on our health and well-being. And what you do when you practice commitment is you strengthen the core of who you are. So I want to invite you and tell you that the way that you can strengthen your commitment muscles, because some of you know that you're not real good at commitment. And sometimes we laugh. We say, oh, you know what? That person, they can't commit to a relationship. They'll never commit to marriage. But I disagree. We can all learn commitment. Commitment is learned. It doesn't come naturally. It's learned. If it hasn't been modeled for you, then now's the time to learn it. So you start by making a simple commitment. Commit that there's something that you will do every day for the next 30 days. And it can make it simple. Maybe it's praying the prayer for protection every day. Something you know you can achieve, but do it every single day for 30 days. Maybe it's making your bed every day. I don't know what it might be for you. Make it something that's doable but stretches you just a bit. Because when you have met a commitment, do you know how good that feels? It feels really good. And when you've met a big commitment, you are stronger because of it, and you are prepared to make the next commitment. Martin Luther King Jr. did not get to where he was by not making big commitments in life. And where would we be if he had not done that? So you want to grow your commitment muscles, and I know that you can do that. The other aspect of this, developing your commitment muscles, is committing to practice. Whatever your practice might be. You know, they say a soloist gets to be an overnight phenomenon after 30 years of practice. It looks easy. You hear the stories, oh, overnight. but there was preparation happening there. So let's say that you want to be married someday. So you do the work to prepare yourself for it. Don't wait till the partner's in your midst. You do the work to prepare for it now. I don't know what your practice might be that you need to do the practice, as far as preparation goes. Only you know. But always be preparing yourself. Always be growing and working on yourself so that you're prepared when you're the one piloting that plane someday, that metaphorical plane. All right, so we've been through 3 steps now. Show up, do your spiritual practice, grow your commitment muscles, and that brings us now to the 4th. And that's to pray to be a blessing. Pray to be a blessing. Yesterday, when I was at the celebration honoring Martin Luther King Jr., Chancellor Leo Morton, UMKC Chancellor Leo Morton, said that there's a prayer that he prays every day. You might want to write this prayer down. It's simple. It's, God, bless me to be a blessing. God, bless me to be a blessing. And if you pray that prayer, then you will be placed right where you need to be when you are prepared to answer the call of the moment. God, bless me to be a blessing. Will you say that with me? God, bless me to be a blessing. Martin Luther King Jr. said it's always the right time to do the right thing. And so we prepare ourselves to be able to do the right thing. One of the most profound things that he ever said was, history will have to record that the greatest tragedy of this period of social transition was not the strident clamor of the bad people, but the appalling silence of the good people. You see, it takes courage and it takes preparation to speak our truth in the world, to be the blessing that we're called to be. But I know that each of you is that blessing waiting to happen. So let's take a moment to just turn within right now. Dear God, bless me that I might be a blessing to this world. Dear God, be the strength and the courage in me to make the commitments that matter in this world. Be the abiding presence that reminds me that I am always one with you, God, and through you with all creation. And I pray, God, that you place me where I might be a blessing. I let go of fear. I let go of small thinking. And I am ready. I am prepared. Call and I will answer. Bless me, God, to be a blessing. Bless me, God, to be a blessing to my family and my friends and loved ones. And bless me, God, to be a blessing to the people that I work with and my neighbors that I live beside. And bless me, God, to be a blessing to this world. Bless me, God, that I might be a blessing to the world. Amen. God bless you.
We want to prepare now to receive our offering. So I invite you to take your offering and just to hold it. And as we hold this offering, we hold to the thought of God bless this gift to be a blessing. God bless this gift to bless our youth and family, the kids who are on fire with God. We bless this gift to touch hearts, to change lives, to open pathways to awakening, to celebrate spirit. God bless this gift to be a blessing. And it is so. Amen.
Drove to the office, same old thing. People complaining about another day. Not enough money, not enough time. They're looking for someone to ease their troubled mind. And suddenly I began to see that if I want to see change, I need to be the change I want to see. Superhero, a champion for my own peace, yeah. Be my own superhero. I'll be the change I want to see. Now you know people, they think you're strange, a little too happy, they think you're deranged, but that won't stop me from what I believe. I'll keep on being the change I want to see. Now, you know that you wish that change in other people would happen as good as it happens in this next verse. Well, next thing you know, and to my surprise, folks started changing right before my eyes. Instead of talking about not enough, they started talking about what there's plenty of, and suddenly they began to see that if they want to see change, they need to be the change they want to see, yeah, and be their own superhero, a champion for their own peace, yeah, be their own superhero, be the change they want to see. Now you don't have to be a movie star. All you have to be is who you are. 'Cause one day you might be just what someone's looking for. You just might be, yeah, the change they need to see. Yeah, the change for you to be. Just be the change you want to see. Whoa, an everyday superhero, a champion for your own peace. Come on now, an everyday superhero. Just be the change you want to see. An everyday superhero, yeah, yeah. Change you wanna see,
Well, one more time, let's thank one of our favorite superheroes, Bukuk and Nuba Scholes. Well, this coming week, another superhero, Reverend Patricia, she's going to be offering her Sacred Abundance class. It starts on the 22nd, and this is a class that, again, is just a very powerful experience to go through. And Greg Pregon, one of our congregants, our members, has a story that he'd like to share with you about the class. Help me welcome Greg.
Oh, I guess I need that, huh? Well, everybody, I've come up here to tell you that in the last year, I have been in the flow. I have been dancing with God. You see, every day I'm filled with joy, and every day I'm filled with excitement. I can't wait to see how this dance is going to unfold. Taking the Sacred Abundance class last year changed my life, and is going to have an impact on it forever. You see, I learned in the Sacred Abundance class there are lots of little gems and little nuggets of gold. And I'm the type of person that when I take a class, I put all my energy into it. And so I took those little gems and those little nuggets of gold, and I went ahead and I let go of stuff in my life from my past that was holding me back. I made declarations of my truth. I forgave so that I could live. And every step I took, I moved more and more into the flow. The flow of love, the flow of abundance, the flow of joy. So now, during the Sacred Abundance class, I made some commitments to tithing my money, my time, my service, and I stepped into service, and I have made in this last year some wonderful relationships. I have been blessed in so many ways that I could never possibly tell you all the things that have happened. My consciousness has expanded in ways words can't even describe. So when I was asked to come up here and share, I actually went back and looked at the monies that my wife Mary and I had tithed. Then I looked to see what we received in unexpected income, monetary gifts and a raise, and I saw that what we received was well over and above that amount that we gave. And this taught me another lesson, that when you step into the dance and get into the flow of giving, God dances with you and puts you in the flow of receiving. So trust me, if you guys want to shift in your life, if you want to expand in your consciousness, if you want to grow in the flow of abundance, then take the Sacred Abundance class, do the work, step into action, and I promise you, you will not regret it.
Trust him. I'd buy beachfront property in Arizona from him. So go to the class. It's transformational. And if you are guided to do that, there's a green registration form in your bulletin. As always, you can sign up there. You can also go downstairs. There is a table set up. You can find out more information. And we encourage you to go ahead and pick up your materials. And if you can, if at all possible, listen to the first CD before going to the first class on Tuesday night.
We want to welcome those of you who might be here for your very first time. It is so good to have you with us. We've prepared a very special welcome packet for you, and it's filled with information about this ministry and some other goodies in there. So if this is your first time here at Unity Church of Overland Park, would you just raise your hand so our ushers can bring you one of the welcome packets? Welcome, welcome to Unity Church of Overland Park. And when you open your welcome packet, there's a blue card inside. If you fill out both sides of this blue card, you can just turn that into the welcome ambassadors at the welcome counter out in the lobby, and they will have a very special gift for you.
And I'd like to ask our prayer chaplains to stand if they would. Our chaplains are available for you for one-on-one confidential prayer after our service. If you'd like to connect with any one of them, you can find them here in the sanctuary, out in the lobby, in front of our Peace Chapel down the hallway, as well as downstairs in Harmony Hall. Each of them wears an orange name tag, and so feel free to approach them for any prayer support that you may like. And also, as you go downstairs today in Harmony 3, our Oneness Blessing team is down there to offer oneness blessings to you if you would like to receive one. And there's also a table in the main section of Harmony Hall with information about an upcoming Oneness Awakening course that's going to take place on Friday night and all day Saturday, February 1st and 2nd. And this is a course where you can learn to become a Oneness blessing giver. So feel free to get a blessing and find out more about the program downstairs.
And I can hear kids who are on fire with God. Let's bring them in, singing, walking as the light, as the love, as the joy of God. Here come our kids and their teachers.
We are walking as the light, as the